Did the Patriots make a mistake in trading Jimmy G?
Let me guess.
Yep. Look, number one, it's not an either-or proposition. You can always figure out a way if you think you have a guy who's going to take over to keep both, as the Packers did with Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers, as I suggested the Eagles did with Carson Wentz and Nick Foles. You need a guy who you know. Okay, that's number one. Number two, there's an old expression in sports. Branch Rickey, who helped break the color barrier in baseball with Jackie Robinson and invented the minor league system, the farm system in baseball, used to say, trade him a year too early instead of a year too late. So admittedly, if you move Tom Brady, I don't think last year it was because of the quarterback. I think a lot of quarterbacks could have won the Super Bowl last year with that Patriots team and Bill Belichick as a coach. I think that includes Garoppolo. I think 2 years ago, when they lost to the Eagles, that was an amazing performance. Or is that 3 years ago already? He had a couple amazing performances. One of them, it was the Eagles' loss.
That was 2 years ago.
That was 2 years ago. It was an amazing performance, but they still lost the game. You could have lost the game with a Jimmy Garoppolo who may or may not have gotten you there, but certainly you would have made a little playoff run at least. And last year, I think you could have won. Meantime, what you'd be set up with now is a guy who held the clipboard for Tom Brady and learned under Belichick and is completely integrated into the system. And you have your franchise quarterback who, by the way, is who knows if the odds that anyone repeats what Brady did are slim. But he resembles statistically and in demeanor and in terms of his skill set a young Tom Brady. People forget when Brady came into the league and was winning Super Bowls with Belichick, he was a 24 touchdown, 12 interception, 3,500 yard, admittedly that meant a little more back then, quarterback who got you in field goal range for the greatest field goal kicker ever to help you win playoff games. That's kind of what Garoppolo is now. He's a game manager who can come in big who can come up big on third down and pilot a defensively oriented run game type team to the Super Bowl. That's what just happened. That's what the Patriots would have with him.
So you think that any quarterback last year was going to go and beat Kansas City and have that fourth quarter drive that Brady had?
No.
And then you just said any quarterback would have won that Super Bowl.
Many.
Or a lot.
Many quarterbacks. Lots of quarterbacks.
So you think a lot of quarterbacks were going to outduel Mahomes in the AFC Championship game and have that drive to go win the football game?
He threw an interception to end the game.
And a lot of guys, no, he didn't. And a lot of guys were going to go have that game-winning drive on 3 straight completions down the field?
Yes, I think that was an excellent.
Do you think playing quarterback's really easy?
That was a super high leverage, last great moment for Tom Brady in that game.
Dude,
where he really showed you a difference maker. I don't know that Garoppolo couldn't have done that.
This is the easiest question I've ever had on this show. No, they don't regret trading Jimmy G. They've gone to the Super Bowl twice and won a Super Bowl because of that trade. Max, it isn't an either or. It wasn't either or. You couldn't have both. It was either a $23 million franchise tag, which you are not going to afford anybody else when you're paying Brady and Jimmy G. You're not going to the Super Bowl in 17. You're not going to the Super Bowl in 18.
Well, you could work out a long-term deal with escalating salaries for Jimmy G.
Max, you are not going to have almost $50 million allocated to your quarterback room and still make a playoff run.
Wouldn't have been 50.
Yes, it would have. How much are you paying Brady? 20-something? 24, 25?
How many times has Brady reworked his deal? Not only that,
he's going to rework his deal for the backup quarterback?
No, in fact, he didn't, which is why you'd have to choose Jimmy G and let Brady go.
No, because the fact that he won the MVP and the Super Bowl, and here's the reality. There's one guy in the history of the league that has won 6 Super Bowls, and he's attached to the New England Patriots. That would not be the case.
I think Joe Montana, who won 4 Super Bowls.
That would not be the case if they kept Jimmy G.
Joe Montana won 4 Super Bowls, was better in the Super Bowl than anyone. 13 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, 4-0, 0 Super Bowl losses. And yet they had Steve Young.
Quick question.
And everyone knew he was in the back. And they let Montana go, and he still had something in the tank. He took the Chiefs to the AFC Championship game, but they made the right decision.
They don't have the trophy with it, Jimmy G.
I have an issue because I feel like you try to, put Tom Brady out of his misery when we talk about him. And it bothers me, Max. Okay, the man has 6 Super Bowls, all right? I'm one of the first ones to tell you he's been surrounded by great players. I agree. Game manager, whatever you want to call him. He's been to 9.
It's ridiculous.
He's been to 9. And you going to sit here and say that they made a mistake trading Jimmy G away? Like, I understand succession plans. If anything, they made a mistake maybe not bringing in a successor after Jimmy G. But when Jimmy G was on the Patriots roster, Tom Brady was still a top 3 quarterback, if not number 1.
He won MVP.
You don't let him a mistake. How? There's no way to justify.
Actually, last year he was nowhere near the best quarterback in football.
And he won a Super Bowl.
He did, and here's my point. Jimmy G was 2-0 with those same Patriots. He got into 2 games, he won both. Then he was 5-0 with the
won
Niners.
11 games.
Then you brought up yesterday, including the playoffs, he's now what, 23 and 5 as a starter? You mean to tell me he can't pilot a great defensive team to the Super Bowl? He's doing it this year.
See, the notion that you are so off base. The notion that you think Jimmy G could do what Tom Brady has done is crazy.
No, excuse me. Even if you take some lesser version of what Brady accomplished in the last 2 years with Garoppolo, let's say you don't make both Super Bowls, but let's say you make one, and let's say you lose that Super Bowl instead of a win and a loss. You got 1 loss in the Super Bowl, but now you have a quarterback set up on your team for the next 15 years.
But Max, you don't have a trophy.
Brady's gone. He's out the door.
You don't have another Super Bowl trophy in your cabinet if you kept Jimmy Garoppolo.
Maybe yes, maybe no.
No, Max, you don't. It's finance. It's economics. You have not.
No. What I'm saying is you're assuming Garoppolo couldn't do it, but Garoppolo only ever wins, and he's in the Super Bowl right now. He might do it right now.
You're saying building up the roster as well.
I'm not under the assumption.
You let Brady go.
You're missing my point totally.
He was the first quarterback ever to have 500 yards of offense in the playoffs and lose.
But you're missing my point.
Okay, so they lost.
You are prepared to leverage what you think should be for what was. What was is that he went to the Super Bowl, won one and lost one. You keep saying, well, Jimmy G could have did this.
What I'm saying is,
Jimmy G would have.
That's right.
Tom did.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.